Hey, what's up 20-somethings? If you're new to this channel, here we have a collab channel where we talk about different themes every week, and we have different people with different perspectives so you guys can get a different outlook on different topics every week. And today's theme is guilty pleasures, which is something that when I sat down and started thinking about it, I was going to talk about One Direction because I quietly enjoy One Direction. It is something that it doesn't bother me that I enjoy it. It's not like I sit there like, why do I like this? But it is something that I don't really talk about enjoying. But then I was thinking of how many things I've had throughout my life that I sat there and pretended I didn't enjoy. And how that shaped me in a way where it's really fucked me up in the head. So thing about guilty pleasures is when you grow up in a country like Venezuela where everything is very patriarchal and boys are one way, girls are another, girls like this, boys like that, it's very stringent and very confined. And when you're a girl with that soccer and Dragon Ball and all these Power Rangers, Pokemon, all those things that shouldn't how that starts to a guilty pleasure becomes a lifestyle in a way. So when I was younger, in my home, my family home, I felt safe. So it wasn't it wasn't my parents, it wasn't my mom, my dad, my brother, even my cousins and my aunt were never oh, you shouldn't be that way. Even my neighbors, the people closest to me have always been oh, that's just how she is. But when you're in school and, you're drawing this dude that's supposed to look like some character out of Dragon Ball Z, and a girl snatches the paper out of your desk because she says you should be drawing flowers and be more feminine, again, guilty pleasures become a lifestyle. I've never had an issue with the things I've enjoyed, personally with myself. I've never sat there and been oh, fuck, why do I like this? Except when I started liking Morrissey because he has a bad rep. But that's beside the point. But when I liked these things growing up and when I was younger, and even there's this dude from an anime called Saint Seiya who is Pisces, and hello, I'm a Pisces, but he is a Pisces and he's this beautiful androgynous human being with long blue hair. And I was so in love with this character that it was a show that came on at 2 a.m. and I kind of have insomnia, so I would just randomly watch it when I couldn't sleep. I had no issue with I was never why do I like this? It was always oh, I like the thing. But then when I was outside of that zone, that comfort zone, then it became a problem. It wasn't a problem to myself personally that I liked all these things, but it became clear to me that it was a problem that I liked them. It's interesting how we think of guilty pleasures as this sort of silly thing that doesn't really, I just, I like this thing and no one knows. But how deeply being in a world where all of your likes are a guilty pleasure can really hurt you. So honestly, even then, when I had, once you set your identity as, I'm a tomboy, I like boyish things, whatever that means, gender is fucked up anyway. When you like those things and you've said oh, the world knows this is who you are, but then you start to deviate from that, you have another subset of no, if you're one way, then you're that way. You already asked to be a boyish person. You already asked to like Dragon Ball and Power Rangers and soccer and sports and getting muddy and all these things. You cannot break away from it. So when I started liking Hannah Montana, High School Musical, even like the Jonas Brothers, even Project Runway, I couldn't freely enjoy these things because it wasn't who people thought I would be. I remember watching Project Runway when I was younger, and I would quickly change the channel as soon as I saw someone approaching. Why? Because I didn't want to have that conversation of, why are you watching this thing that's not in the box that you're set in? It wasn't a guilty pleasure for me. I felt no guilt to myself. I just didn't want to deal with the other person. And it happens to me throughout my life, honestly. Same thing with the One Direction and the Jonas Brothers and every song that I've enjoyed, and I'm like, I like it, who gives a crap? And it's this, I just find it so interesting when you, how different people live through guilty pleasures, where I was sort of living inside a bubble of guilty pleasures where nothing that I enjoyed was supposed to be what I liked. And even when I was accepted that I liked those things, I was put into a smaller box where I really couldn't like anything else. What is you guys' experience with guilty pleasures? Do you guys find them at all harmful when you like think about it this way? Have you ever been really hurt by a guilty pleasure or something that you enjoyed that someone, you know, knocked you for, that you didn't realize how much it meant to you until someone said something about it? Because honestly, like, that's what I felt for, like, even with like having my, I keep thinking of things that I'm like, oh shit, that too. I remember being really like, I'm an emo child of like the primest of primes. I used to love that shit, but I loved the look, but I never could get it to happen like I wanted it to, because my family was like, I would have to have a conversation or any sort of like encounter with my family talking about this style that I was now wearing. I just kept doing my own thing and like just slowly have developed into my adult self where I can enjoy things without having to explain them to anyone. Even YouTube is a thing that I do without telling people. Like, that's just, oh man, maybe I'm just fucked up in the head. What do you guys think? Am I thinking too much about guilty pleasures and how deep it is? Or am I just an English major that's taught to overthink for a career? So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. What are your guilty pleasures, or what guilty pleasures have you been scarred for having? And I will see you guys next Friday. Bye!